I was quite optimistic when he first came.
You were.
And my wife was saying he's awful. It's going to be worse. And I said, no, let's give him a chance. And being open-minded as I am, I'm happy to admit I was massively, massively wrong about Starmer. He's an absolute abomination. But there was. I hope you don't mind reading this out because I just think it's absolutely brilliant. Nick Dixon, who I think Nick Dixon's.
I've been on his podcast. He's been on my podcast.
Yeah. So you know him quite well. He wrote this I think it's on Twitter, and my wife sent it to me, and it's a summary of Starmer, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant, and I hope you don't mind if I just read it out. So, this is Nick Dixon. Starmer is a managerial midwit, a brittle man of winter, a dead-eyed shark pushing forever towards his next grim mechanical task. You could coax Shakespeare himself down from the heavens to tell him of all England's beauty, and he would only be annoyed that you had kept him from his busy work. He's a ruddy-faced nothing, an interloper. To call him a traitor flatters him, as a traitor surely has some sense of his own wrongdoing. Starmer lacks the imagination to arrive even at the foothills of his own wretchedness. His emptiness could fill entire stadia. He is a final form of managerial man, signing Britain's death warrant before lunch and never thinking about it twice. To detest him is normal, yet pointless. Hatred slides off him like water off some cheap synthetic fabric. He is a blank-faced destroyer of joy, freedom and invention. He is death on prescription, equally distributed. He is nameless dread, the void, the negation that cannot be negated. He is the end of hope. So what do you think about that? I don't know if you've read that.
You sent it to me. Last week I read it. Some good points. He is from the managerial class. He's not a leader. He's not a visionary. He's a sort of person I worked for 10 years at Manchester Council. It's all procedure. This is what we do here. And I said to several managers at the council, this doesn't work. And the answer was always, I don't care. This is what we do here. You need people like him when you're running government, in businesses, if they have a good manager above them. You need people who won't question methodology. You need people who will get the job done, who are not worried about upsetting people, who just focus, this is what I do. But people like that should never be near the levers of power because they have no empathy, they don't understand human nature, they're not aiming for a vision, a dream of how things can be. I get the impression he just looks at the Marxist playbook and he's trying to build a Marxist utopia that someone else came up with, and he's just trying to implement that because that's what the managerial class do.
Yeah.
Implement other people's ideas.
There's no imagination there, there's no originality, there's no reaction to what he's seeing because he's got his playbook, and that's what I'm going to follow.
And that's great in some roles in society. You need people like that.
No, I quite admire that in certain managers. Yeah.
Because that's what you need. Yeah. They're not leaders, and you don't need them to be politicians.
Yeah, I mean you mentioned Winston Churchill in the previous episode. The disparity between somebody like him and Winston Churchill is phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, the difference between those two prime ministers is galaxies apart.
It is, and let me give you this example. The similarities between him and Boris Johnson. To begin with, you go, there is no similarities. Well, there is. You had a showman clown and you've got a managerial class. Both of them not leaders, no vision, no dream, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they look like chalk and cheese from the outside.
Incredibly similar.
But very similar.
That is a really good point, actually. Because I think most people say, there's nothing like, but they're exactly like, aren't they? The way they have reacted to their position of power, their lack of ability to understand what's happening, their inability to read people and the reaction to people as well. It's identical, isn't it, basically? I hadn't actually thought that's a really, really good point. Although Johnson is out there attacking Starmer now, but actually he paved the path for Starmer, didn't he?
Of course he did.
In a big way. Because actually, if he'd actually fulfilled his promise and been a true leader, Starmer wouldn't be anywhere near this government now.
Also, if Boris Johnson had not implemented his authoritarian streak over COVID, would Starmer have the balls to do it now?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Johnson set the precedent, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I mean, although I would say Johnson set the precedent through weakness rather than
Ideology.
blinkered ideology. Because I think Starmer's just like, this is what I have to do because the people are rioting, so I need to do this. I think Johnson just was bewildered, and he took the advice of the person who was standing next to him at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. I don't think he's quite as brutal as.
No, he isn't. But the similarities are, both men don't have a vision, don't have ideas themselves, could not articulate how they wanted the country to be. It's always based on what someone else wants the country to be.
Yeah.
That's why Boris Johnson was good at making us think he had the dreams and the visions because he quoted Churchill. But that's all he could do was ever quote Churchill. He wasn't a Churchill. He wasn't a new version of Churchill. Keir Starmer the same. Keir Starmer's mantra, get the adults back in the room because I know what to do. And it turns out you don't know what to do. You're just playing someone else's playbook, the Marxist playbook. Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.